The silence in the house in East Legon felt heavier than any argument. After Kojo's confession at Auntie Ajwai's compound, the secret guest house meetings, the hidden family debt, the years he spent protecting his mother's shame, I drove home without a word. By the time he arrived an hour later, expecting anger or tears, he found me in the guest room calmly studying our financial documents. For months, I had suspected betrayal. I had imagined another woman, a hidden life. Instead, the truth was something colder. Secrecy built on pride. You lied to me, I told him quietly. You let me live in fear while you carried this alone. Not because you didn't trust me with the truth, but because you didn't respect me enough to share the burden. Kojo tried to defend himself. He said he was protecting our reputation, protecting my family's image of him. But the explanation only confirmed what I had already accepted. His betrayal was silence. Mine had been a strategy. While he hid the truths, I had quietly prepared for survival, securing contracts, separating accounts, and building an independent foundation for my future. The quiet coup I had staged was never meant to destroy him. It was meant to free me. The marriage is over, I said finally. Tomorrow we call the lawyers. There were no dramatic ultimatums, only the calm acceptance of two people who understood that trust, once broken, cannot be rebuilt with explanations. The lawyer's office became the battlefield where our marriage officially ended. Across the polished conference table, surrounded by legal teams, we looked less like former lovers and more like rival executives negotiating a corporate merger's collapse. Kojo's team offered the East Legon house and a financial settlement in exchange for a non-disclosure agreement. They feared scandal more than loss, but I had already chosen what mattered. I don't want the house, I said quietly. I want my equity and full right to the marketing client I built. Then I placed the document on the table, the signed MTN contract. My independent company, Agile Marketing Solutions, was already operational. Kojo stared at the paper in stunned silence. In that moment, he understood the truth. I wasn't living as a defeated wife. I was living as a competitor who had already secured victory. After a long pause, he raised his hand to stop his lawyer. I agreed to her terms. With a few signatures, the marriage ended, not in rage, but in negotiation. The real storm arrived afterward. In Accra's tight social circles, the divorce of the perfect couple became instant gossip. Church members whispered, friends took sides, and my mother, Auntie Grace, reacted exactly as I expected. You have shamed this family, she cried. No husband, no children. What will people say? I kept my voice calm. Kojo hid massive financial debts from me. I protected myself. The explanation was vague, but it was enough. Kojo would never reveal the full truth and expose his family's scandal. The narrative protected both of us. Even the church council, summoned to review the divorce, accepted the explanation. Kojo admitted to financial secrecy. I explained that trust had collapsed. The elders nodded solemnly. The marriage was dissolved. My reputation remained intact. Leaving East Legon was easier than I expected. I packed only what belonged to me before the marriage: my clothes, my books, my laptops, and the art pieces I had collected over the years. Everything else stayed behind. The velvet sofa, the dining table, the enormous master bed. Those objects belonged to a life that no longer existed. My new apartment in Ridge was smaller, modern, and filled with light. That first night, sitting on the floor surrounded by boxes, I performed the final ritual of letting go. I deleted every photo of Yaa and Kojo on my social media. Hundreds of images vanished: the wedding, the vacations, the smiling captions about love and blessings. When I finished, only one identity remained online: Yaa Mensiwaa, CEO. Kojo sent one final text later that night. The house is fully transferred. I hope the move went well. I replied, Good luck with the Tema project. And that was the end of our life together. 6 months later, Accra felt different. Or perhaps I did. Agile marketing solutions had grown faster than I imagined. The MTN deal led to other telecom clients, and soon my agency had become one of the most sought-after branding firms in the city. People no longer introduced me as Kojo Ofore's wife. They simply said, just Yaa Mensiwaa. The final closure came unexpectedly at the Accra International Conference Center during a government contract pitch. As I exited the presentation room, I saw Kojo across the hall speaking with an official. He looked older, thinner, the weight of responsibility etched into his face, yet he still carried himself like the disciplined engineer I once admired. Our eyes met. For a moment, time paused. He approached slowly. "Yeah," he said quietly. "Kojo." He offered a tired smile. "I saw your company on the bidders list. You are doing very well." "Thank you. I hear the Tema project recovered." "It did." After a brief silence, he added, "I never told anyone about your strategy. And thank you for not exposing my mother." I nodded. I didn't want revenge. I wanted freedom. He understood. Both of us had fought for security. He through silence, I through action. Kojo extended his hand, not as a husband, but as a professional. "I wish you well, yeah." I shook his hand firmly. "And I wish you peace. You've carried enough silence." Then I walked away. The marble floors of the conference center echoed with the sound of my steps. For the first time in years, those footsteps belonged entirely to me. The Quiet Coup had never been about destroying a marriage. It had been about reclaiming identity. I had lost a husband, a house, and the illusion of perfection. But I had gained something far more powerful: my name, my independence, my future. And in the end, that was the greatest victory of all. I was no longer Yaa Ofore. I was simply Yaa Mensiwaa.